Hi,
Hello, good morning, sir.
good morning. How are you doing?
Fine, sir. How are you?
Wonderful. You can call me Harish, yeah. Don't call me sir. I'm not
Sure,
being
sure.
knighted by the queen.
Sure, sir. So, sir, we'll wait for 2, 3 minutes and then we'll start up.
No problem.
All right, sir. So, we'll start up then. Well, Harish sir is a very well-known personality to all. But just to sum up in 3, 4 lines, he's a human activist, animal rights activist, and an environmentalist. He has movies and books to his struggles of activism and promoter of equal rights for LGBTQ community and survivors of child abuse. Under the list of 100 most influential LGBT people in the world, he's the first Indian to hit the list at 71st rank, and Pink Pages has named Sir in India's top 7 influential gay and lesbian people, and also one of the top 10 individuals to be awarded Zindagi Live Award in creating awareness on child sexual abuse. So now we'll proceed with the session, and we'll be also taking the live questions, and attendees can post their questions in the box, which will be taken on later on. So, sir, with your permission, we shall begin up with the question series.
Yes, we may.
All right. So the first question which we shall be beginning up is that males are always forgotten gender, as community has always been apprising of female sufferings. So what are your views on this, as you have suffered 11 years of your childhood?
I think this question is not about, the debate is not, often when we speak about sexual abuse of other genders, we tend to pit it against females, as if there are only two binaries. I mean, there are not just two genders, there are many genders. And uh, one needs to remember that this doesn't mean that women's rights are not important, or the fact that we don't need to pit one gender against the other when we are speaking about the rights of when we are speaking about the rights of men, when we are speaking about the rights of trans people. We don't have to pit it against women per se. There is disparity. Every case needs to be taken for the merit of it. I do wish that there are more gender. There are some laws which are gender neutral, which consider the victim as a person, the complainant, the victim as a person, and not even if you keep the perpetrator, okay, to begin with, the perpetrator as male, if that's going to take a paradigm shift for us to understand that perpetrators could be female also. But even if we keep the perpetrator as male, at least the when it comes to victims, we in fact when Justice Verma after the Nirbhaya incident. When Justice Verma had set up a committee and asked for recommendations, I had sent in a recommendation asking people to change the word female to actually person, because any person can get raped. It could be male, female, or anybody. So we need a pragmatic approach to the whole thing, not necessarily um, you know not necessarily looking at it from अरे वुमेन को इतना राइट मिल गया, मेल को क्यों राइट नहीं मिला, सबको राइट मिलना चाहिए, वो हिसाब से हमें सोचना चाहिए, rather than looking at it from a male versus female standpoint. Women's rights are important, and yeah, so it shouldn't be taking away from that when we are speaking about men's rights or rights of any other gender.
All right, sir. So the next question we have is, your mom got you a matrimonial ad, first of its kind, that was searching for a groom for his own son. So what was the measure of your emotions then?
Oh, I was 36 when my mother put up this ad, and I was single. And Padmaja, you would know how single people feel. You feel that there is no one in my life. मैं अकेले मरने वाला हूँ. Especially if you're older, if you're inching towards for your 40s and you're single. So I had all these apprehensions. So I told my mother कि यार मेरे 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 से तो कोई लड़का पट भी नहीं रहा है, and I'm single all my life. So my mother said, okay, why don't we put a matrimonial ad for you? Because that's the natural thing that people. I said, but matrimonial ad मेरे को लड़की से शादी नहीं करनी है. ऐसे नहीं, लड़के के लिए डालेंगे, क्या फर्क पड़ता है? So my mother put up this ad. I mean, it made news for all the good reasons and for all the wrong reasons also, because वो ad के end में लिखा था cast no bar but Iyer preferred. It was supposed to be a joke. In retrospect, I shouldn't have made that joke because it's not my lived experience of being my lived experience is being born to privilege. I belong to a family, though I don't consider myself Brahmin, but I belong to a family which forefathers had been practicing Brahminism. So probably I shouldn't have made that joke, but yeah, it was meant in the lighter way.
All right. So now we have the next question. That is, why do you think that India is so backward in recognizing the LGBTQ rights? We should have acknowledged the facts long time back. And what steps should the government and citizens should be opting to for the awareness of the same?
The government first has been mandated. There is a when Section 377, the verdict was delivered, the government was told that this verdict, the responsibility is on the government to ensure that the verdict is understood by everybody. So ideally, the verdict should have been, the government should have been working with activists, with civil rights people, to ensure that the message of activism, the message of equality reaches everybody. I don't think the government has done anything in that ambit. Um, so as people, as responsible citizens, if we can just educate ourselves and not always expect an LGBT person to educate, but educate ourselves, read, Google, treat everyone with dignity and respect, irrespective of who the person is, whether the person is from the LGBT community or the person is of any minority group. It's important that we kind of stand up for people, or please stand up for all minorities.
Alright, so now the next question we have is that you shared a very great bond with Jimmy, and for our audience, Jimmy is the first one who had helped out her to come out of the struggling and a chaotic phase, and is this dog. So, what are your views on pet therapy when someone is going through the most difficult phases of their lives?
I think if you like animals, they are incredibly therapeutic. Um, they give you joys and untroubled. You can't be troubled by an animal if you really love an animal. And the kind of acceptance that you get from not just dogs but also cats, from any pet animal, is tremendous. I mean, there is this myth that cats are not, cats are very selfish. That's not the case. I have a dog and a cat, and my cat is more like a dog, in stereotypical dog, than my dog. So I basically feel that uh, pets give you a reason to live. Sometimes Jimmy definitely gave me a reason to live. Pets teach you how you could be responsible, because you get an opportunity to look after them. It's not almost like looking after a child. It is looking after a child when you look after a pet. And yes, but still, I believe that you should get home a pet only when you are completely cued into the responsibilities it brings in. Don't just get home a pet because you saw somebody coming on Insta and told you that that his family has pets and his life was changed because of a pet. Get home a pet only if you are completely convinced, and you can give a commitment for 10 to 12 years if you get home a dog or a cat.
Alright, so the next question we have is what behavior should we as citizens opt to, apart from empathy, to help out child survivors to come out of the web after abuse?
Um, you know, whether it's child abuse survivors or child sexual abuse survivors, it becomes one of the things that that we as a society need to learn is to listen. The world doesn't need the more healers per se. It needs more listeners, because listening is healing in a way. I was the reason why I'm able to speak so candidly and speak so happily to you and to everybody, even about my sexual abuse, is because of my dog. And all that my dog did was he listened to me. He didn't offer words of advice. He didn't have the vocabulary as I do. I didn't understand what he spoke when he barked, but just him being beside me and listening to me healed me so much. So I think that what we need to do is be a dog. Listen to somebody, sit beside someone and listen to the person, even if that person is ranting for the 97th time in the day. Keep listening to the person with patience and hold that person's hand. And you're not an expert, so don't offer advice. Then what basic advice that you could offer, that, हाँ, ठीक है, मैं तुम्हारे साथ हूँ. Apart from that, if you feel that you are struggling somewhere, then please ensure that the person reaches a mental health professional and speaks to a mental health professional. So your job is to listen and to direct the person to a mental health professional.
Right. So now the next we have is ki you have always urged women through various campaigns to keep whistles and blow them on Eve teasers. So how did you end up choosing whistles rather than a violence-filled method?
Well, this was an innovative campaign that Shobha Dey and I had started um, a few years back, when there was this Pink Chaddi campaign, which was also out, and there was another campaign. This was against the Mangalore pub attack, where there were women in the Mangalore pub who were beaten up. Women and men also were beaten up because they were wearing jeans and they were wearing Western outfits. So, so we started this blow the whistle campaign, where we said that women should have a whistle and blow the whistle on any man who this thing. It was just an enabling tool per se at that time, and it was a campaign. Uh, just blowing the whistle doesn't help. What's really needed is and it was metaphorical also, a literal metaphorical thing to actually say that you need to blow the whistle, in sense you need to name the people who did this to you, and who eve teased you, who eve teased is a bad word, who bullied you, who tried to misbehave with you. So ensure that if there's anyone who's catcalling you, then you blow the whistle on the person, in the sense, tell the world who those people are, so that it was to encourage that. Just that wouldn't help. What's needed is a proactive change in the society, a systemic change in the society and the mindset of people, and also not just punishing abusers, but speaking to them and understanding how they could improve. Because if there's somebody who needs therapy more than anybody, it are these abusers and molesters who need therapy more than anyone else.
And now the next we have is that people often have a particular wrong mindset. That is, the LGBT community persons have an individual choice more and not biological genetics involved. So, what would you like to comment on the wrong notions that's fitted in the Indian brains?
Well, people assume that it's an individual choice, as if, like, today I had parotha and tomorrow I had dahi vada. That is an individual choice, not your sexuality. I don't wake up on Sunday and say कि आज Sunday है मैं bisexual बनूंगा, Monday है तो मैं gay बनूंगा, अगर Wednesday है तो यार in middle of the week I'll be straight. So I don't decide these things. I don't choose these things. And even if I have to choose, why would I choose a struggle? Because I know that this is a struggle where you have to come out to people, where people would sometimes tease you, bully you. Why would anyone choose a struggle? I could, if that was a choice, I could have gotten. It's another thing that I would, if it was a choice, also I would have chosen to be gay. But I'm just saying, for argument's sake, that if that was really a choice, it's far more easier for me to date a girl and to be heterosexual in people's eyes than be homosexual or transgender or anyone, you know. So so if it's a choice, why would anyone really choose a life of struggle? So it's not a choice, it's not a fashion fad. It is not Anamika Khanna's collection or Masaba Gupta's collection that you can just wear and throw off after a while. It's not a fashion fad. It is who I am. And even if it was a choice, it's not a choice, but even if it was a choice, who the are you to tell me what my choice should be? I am an adult, even if it was a choice, it's not a choice, right? But even if it was one, who is anybody to tell me what I should choose? I'm an adult and I can choose what I want.
Definitely. Along with, apart from Jimmy, Sridevi ma'am has been playing a great role. Like, you were very inspired from her movies and stuff. So, what great role was played by Sridevi ma'am that helped you again to come out of the chaotic life you had, the chaotic
Uh,
phase of the
Shri-
life?
Sridevi was an anchor in my life in many ways, because Sridevi was, you know, I believe in the power of storytelling. I believe in the power of cinema. And around that time, when I was going through child sexual abuse in my childhood, I used to watch a lot of her films. And in every film, she had a very strong character, a character which basically meant that that she would in the end she would always win. You'd always see her in many roles where she would be fighting the villain and winning in the end. So it was incredibly important for me, because I used to listen to watch her films and get inspired, get transported to her world. I used to uh, feel one with her characters. Every character she played, I used to feel that I'm also one of those characters. I remember I used to uh, dress up as a Nagin and wear a white dress and be inside my house and try to dusify anyone who comes in. So I've done stupid things like that, but I still feel very proud that even still today, when I get too agitated with something, I listen to her songs from Nagina and feel good about it.
So,
So I
now the
think
very
she helped me build a parallel world around a parallel fictionalized world, which actually helped me.
All right. Now, the very important question we have is that you didn't permit your strangulated childhood to overpower you. Rather, you used it as a foundation to grasp justice and let justice prevail for others too. So, sir, how would you like to encourage the upcoming generations to come out of the web and fight up for themselves?
Uh, well, I think we all have an inspiration, and our inspiration lies in our mirror. We inspire ourselves. The struggles that we have been through, and the fact that we kind of accept our past the way it is, despite the past being of past being a painful story and not a life of glory. Um, that is an inspiration. So we are our own. We are people who inspire ourselves, and it's incredibly important because that's how um, um, that's something that we need to always realize, that there's only one inspiration for us, and that's we ourselves. The more we accept our past, um, and we allow it to rest in the past, okay, only to dig out from the past sometimes to gather what we need in the present, uh, in the sense that it's like a book that you take from a library. You read the book and then you put the book back in the library. So your past is one of those. Your past is that whole library, and that book is that portion of the past that you come out, draw your inspiration, fold the book, keep it back over there. Don't deny yourself your past, because that is going to determine your present and your future. The more you deny your past, you'll never be able to live happily in your present.
Alright, and now we'll be taking the live questions. Attendees can be posting them in the comments box.
Okay. Uh, I don't think I have got any questions. Yeah, people are
Yes,
just listening.
not any questions as of now. We hope to get few in a second or a minute.
No problem. Thank you, Aruna Auntie. She has said powerful. Yogi. Somebody has said Jai Padmaja Mata ki.
Sir, we have got one question from Puran. He is asking, could you please share about your journey?
Share.
Share about your whole journey.
Share about my journey. Well, I was 7 years of age when I got sexually abused. I was raped by a male relative, and I was gang raped when I was 11 or 12 years of age. And I lived a very distorted childhood, a life that I was getting sexually abused and the life that I was not getting sexually abused. Over years, I also discovered my sexuality, that I was gay, and then I lived in this conflict of whether I was gay because I was raped. But then I realized I spoke to many other survivors like me who are male survivors of child sexual abuse, but they all were straight. They were also raped by men, but they all were straight. They all were heterosexual. So I realized that over a point, I also tried having relationship with a girl. I even went to Singapore and I had sex with a commercial sex worker, a woman, and it was a one night stand and it didn't stand at all. That's when I realized that I cannot spend the rest of my life trying to be somebody who I'm not. And in that bargain, getting married to a woman and denying her the right to her sexuality and her sexual pleasure just because she's married off to a man. And in our society, we don't really look at people. We look at people with disdain if they go out and have sex. So I would have been okay with that. But yeah, so the whole idea of cheating on someone or lying to someone was not acceptable to me, and that's why I came back and I accepted my sexuality. I realized that I was gay, and I'm gay because I'm gay because I'm gay, not because I was raped by a man. Just as women also get molested by men, they don't blame if they're heterosexual. They don't blame their heterosexuality that man came and touched me inappropriately, and then I turned heterosexual. Similar to that, I don't think I need to blame my homosexuality on my abuse. But I'm happy the way I am, and that's precisely how I would want to be. Um, and yes, after that, after the age of 25, 26 is when I started speaking out about my abuse and my sexuality quite wide openly, and I'm in a happy space today.
So the next question we have is from Sanskriti Mehta. She says that I love your humor and the way you describe things. Was this also a coping mechanism?
Sanskriti, yes, it was a coping mechanism um, because after a point in the beginning, yes, I did like when people heard my story and they cried when they heard my story. I I didn't I was I in the beginning, in the very first year or something, I uh, I did like when people listened because I felt validated when people listened to my story and people even showed sympathy. But after a year or so, it just got too much. The sympathy, what I needed was empathy. What I needed was understanding. What I needed was awareness. I didn't want sympathy. And when people started pitying me for my condition, I thought the best way for me to do is to prove it's to reveal, because I really was a funny person deep within, but no one really saw that funny side of me because I was always embroiled in these serious discussions about rape and sexual abuse and sexuality and all those things. So to joke in that midst, and I also happen to be one of the first few people who are very open in the media um, about my sexuality. So again, that was a very serious and a very loaded topic. So I started bringing in humor to just ease things out. And sometimes, even when I was speaking about abuse, it used to people saw that I spoke about abuse outside, but they also saw that they didn't see that after speaking and after crying, it used to take me like 2 days to get out of that shell. So I thought I started making humor my best friend, and I started joking about things, and things have been better after that.
Now, next we have is from Mr. Sanidhya Kulshestra. He says that what kinds of things might a trans person go through when they begin to acknowledge their true gender identity?
Sanidhya, I think I'm not a trans person, but I can definitely tell you from a third person standpoint, from the standpoint of the stories that I've heard from trans people. Um, one is their understanding of, your sex assigned at birth is something, and you do not experience congruence with it. What I mean by congruence with it is, um, your sex assigned at birth. The nurse said कि मुबारक हो लड़का हुआ है, but when you grow up, you realize that you are a girl, that you are a woman, and for you to explain to your parents, to your relatives, it becomes incredibly difficult. And we live in a very gendered world. We look at the world from very gendered lens. Even from a young age, to go to school wearing a male outfit, or to be forced to be boxed. Gender should be liberating you. Gender should not be boxing you. And To be boxed, to feel claustrophobic in those boxes, is one of the most challenging feelings that people could face. And When people, and even in the LGBT spectrum, I think while lesbians and gay sexual minorities face the challenge of just their sexuality, gender minorities face the challenge of them being accepted not just for who they love, but who they are. Their whole identity is in question, and the way people and society looks at these things is very traumatic. Um, we don't do enough for the rights of people from the Hijra community. We need to be doing more, and our understanding of trans men is very is abysmal. People don't even know who trans men are. We look at trans people as trans women only. Um, Trans men are people whose sex assigned at birth was female, but they're male. So that is trans men. They might have an operation, they might not have an operation, but irrespective of sexual affirmation surgery, sex affirmation surgeries, uh, if they are trans, they need to be accepted as trans. There is widespread discrimination even today, and I would urge you all to even interview a trans person so that you can get a first person account on something. I'll be happy to send you some names.
So now the next we have is not a question, but it's a statement. And he says that same sir, but I'm a cross dresser since childhood. Love wearing sari, blouse, frock. Then got isolation, but family members don't know about my cross dressing. Thereafter, I got married because I was not aware of cross dressing behavior and don't express my feelings with parents, but I wear female dresses since childhood hidden. So, this is not a kind of question, it's a kind of statement he has confessed.
Mm. So, thank you so much for sharing this. Um, Cross dressing to dress in another, that means your gender expression sometimes is female. You might be having a fluid gender expression, and there is nothing wrong in being fluid. I have dressed in a sari, and I love dressing in a sari. I think I think nature is very unjust to men and women in this way, because I think saris and female outfits are beautiful, and I'd love to dress on them. Ranveer Singh loves to dress on them, and forget Ranveer Singh, Baba Ramdev loves to dress on a salwar kameez also. That's an awful side, but everything else is beautiful.
Then the next we have is from Miss Shaurya Saxena. She says that how do you explain being a bisexual to people? I often get asked why can't I choose a particular gender instead of swinging between the two.
Um, Bisexuality is as normal as homosexuality, as normal as heterosexuality. It's bisexuals. I'm in love with a bisexual person. I am polyamorous, so I love many people, but my main person whom I love is a bisexual person. And um, it really doesn't mean that a person swings from loving a man to loving a woman every time. A bisexual identity could also be fluid, where you could fall in love with a man, yet have feelings for a woman, yet be in a committed relationship with a man. You could be in a relationship with a woman and yet have a committed relationship. You could be in a committed relationship with a woman, and you could have a relationship. Not have a relationship with a man, though you might feel the urge to be with a man. You might not choose to not have a relationship with a man. Just as every heterosexual man would fall in love, would have a girlfriend or a wife, and yet wouldn't yet would find other women attractive. Attraction kam nahi hota, but the way you choose commitment, the way you choose to spell out your commitment, whether it is with one person, with two people, whether it's polyamorous, that's your choice. And people need to understand that there is nothing wrong with bisexual people. Dating a bisexual person, being a bisexual person doesn't necessarily increase your chances of double dating. It's most misunderstood, and you could choose to be with one gender, choose to be with one person, and yet get attracted to other people. We all get attracted to more than one persons, but you can choose the choice that you make. Even our parents get attracted. You think that our mothers didn't think of any other man who was more sexier than our fathers, or our fathers didn't think of any other woman as sexy as our mother. They would have gotten attracted to other people, but many of them choose to be with their partners. So the way you define your relationship is your choice, and being bisexual or being heterosexual or being gay doesn't really make any difference. Thank you for coming out and
The next we
speaking out,
have
Sharia.
The next we have is that it's from same Alam. He says that please guide me and please help for cross dressing get together partly. It is organized in different places. I'm school teacher, so got opportunities summer vacation and winter vacations.
I think there are many groups which are there of cross dressers. There are people who um, first you have to accept yourself, and once you accept yourself, go out to do some theater, do some this thing. There's nothing wrong with cross dressing. There is nothing wrong with expressing your gender the way you wish to express it. Um, we don't need to be confined to the norms of society. We all are individuals of free will, and we can choose to live our lives the way we wish to live. Um, so um, but do understand that uh, uh, to that you need to accept yourself. The world might not accept you the way you wish the world to accept you. Give yourself time, um, or to accept yourself, because then you'll get all kinds of reactions from the world. So give yourself, meet like-minded people. There are many Facebook groups. Meet like-minded people and see how things could get better.
The next we have is from Mr. Puran. He's asking the meaning of word queer.
Queer,
Right.
queer, not queer. Queer. So queer was a offensive word at one point. जिसको हम odd बोलते थे, outlandish बोलते थे, उसको बोलते this is a very queer thing. So what really happened was people from the LGBT community kind of accepted the word queer as it's like saying tu pagal hai, yeah, saying something. Then you get come to a point where you just come out and say that ha hu to. So it is our way of saying ha hu to. मैं अलग हूँ. Anything that's different from a certain norm that society throws on us, whether it is a norm of being heterosexual, whether it's a norm of being of a particular belonging to a certain gender, and the stereotypes that come with it, whether it is about being a homosexual person also or being a bisexual person. So when people try to box you in a certain norm, and you just want to say that I'm different, it's used in that context most often. Um, so being queer is different, is being different, and not fitting into any norm.
The next we have is an appreciation from Jyoti Pandey. She says that there is no such question. I just wanted to say that you are an amazing human. Then
Thank you, Jyoti.
after that again we have a statement from Abhimanyu Arya. He says that it means strange to be more specific, different.
Yeah,
And next
yeah.
we
It means strange or different. Yes.
Next, we again have it from Alok. He asked that what steps should I take? I'm married, but I could not leave my desire of cross dressing even after marriage life. I always feel strongly to wear sari, blouse, bra, and do makeup, but due to family members. And then we have again one thing from him, that is, I do cross dressing in isolation.
Well, I think that it is a long step. There is no one answer that I can give you. It is a long step, a long process. You will have to, if you're coming out, then you need to take your family in confidence. Please get the help of a mental health professional who can. You don't need to be going through a mental trauma necessarily to seek the help of a mental health professional. A mental health professional will possibly put together a plan for you with which you can use and come out to your family maybe so that you feel more liberated about your gender expression.
And then we have an appreciation from Vaibhav and Alam again. He says that thank you so much. He has appreciated. Then we have a hello as a regard from Senthu Raji. He is from Germany. And from a username as Bigwood.
Okay.
Anything apart from the live questions you would like to discuss?
Nothing really. I think that my Ayyar Harish is my Insta handle, and if my phone number is given over there, so if somebody is grappling with their gender or sexuality and they just want someone to speak to, they can reach out to me, and I'll be more than happy to listen to them and direct them to a counselor when it's required.
Alright. So thank you for a very fruitful session. Thank you so much. Much regards.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Goodbye.
Take care.